Welcome to the Packer Mentality Podcast. I'm here to keep you informed and offer insights on all things Packers, from on field action to off field developments. Big shout out to everyone listening and watching. Your support is what keeps this channel growing. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, leave a comment, and connect with me on social media at Packer Mentality. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Packers lose game one of the 2024 season in Brazil to the Eagles 34-29. A tough loss that is now overshadowed by the injury to Jordan Love in the last 20 seconds of the game. Before getting all worked up, let's put this game in perspective. It's game one of the season. It's an international game, which is brutal however or wherever you're playing it. You're facing a good Philadelphia Eagles team. You had 10 penalties, which is a ridiculous amount, but that is fixable. And the officiating was pretty bad. Now, let's start with the defense. The good. Against a really good Eagles offense, the defense forced 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. All of those led to points. Now, this team was terrible last season in forcing turnovers, especially interceptions. And to get 2 interceptions in game one is a good sign. After getting crushed by Jalen Hurts a couple of years ago, they limited his rushing and his scrambling for most of the game. He did get away a little bit at the end of the game on that last drive, but overall, he only had 33 yards on 13 carries. They, for the most part, limited big plays. Just one big 67-yard pass to A.J. Brown, but we'll talk about that in a second. The bad, and maybe this was a result of having to play more too deep because of the Eagles' wide receivers, but this defense could not get off the field. It was a lot like last season where they just let teams drive up and down the field. Tonight, Packers defense gave up consecutive scoring drives of 11 plays for a touchdown, 8 plays for a touchdown, 15 plays for a field goal, then a quick one, 2 plays for a touchdown. And then at the end of the game, when they needed a stop, they allowed the Eagles to run off 16 plays and kick a field goal. Now, this is probably a result of not playing in the preseason, but they also missed a lot of tackles, including on that big play to A.J. Brown. I'm going to know more about how this defense looked when I see the All-22 film, but it felt like Jalen Hurts had way too much time and that the defensive line did not get to him early enough and often enough. On the offensive side of the ball, the Packers scored 29 points while leaving 11 points on the table. Now, this offense just did not look in sync. But the good part is, I just said it, they scored 29 points. They had 163 yards rushing. New Packer, Josh Jacobs, in his first game in a Packers uniform, 16 carries for 84 yards, over 5 yards per carry. Emmanuel Wilson with a nice game, 4 carries for 46 yards, over 11 yards per carry. And Jaden Reed with a huge 33-yard touchdown run. Jaden Reed had a huge night. He was great in the passing game also. Had the first 100-yard game for Packer receiver right out of the gate. That didn't happen until, I believe, the second to the last game of last season. Reed finishes with 4 catches, 138 yards, 1 touchdown of 70 yards, which I believe is a career long for Jordan Love. Now, the bad. These receivers just did not feel like they were in sync with Jordan Love, or he was just inaccurate. And it's probably a little bit of both. Jordan finished 17 of 34, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not terrible numbers. but he kind of got lucky that he didn't end up with a couple more interceptions because he threw a few really questionable balls. There were too many penalties by the offense, and it cost them at least one touchdown tonight. Could not convert in the red zone tonight. Two of those early turnovers were deep in Eagles territory, and they only got field goals on those drives. So that's 6 points instead of 14 points. Just look at the score. What would have 8 more points done for the Packers? Lack of production by the wide receivers and drop passes hurt this team. Christian Watson, only 3 catches for 13 yards. For a guy who a lot of people believe is the number one wide receiver, that's not good enough. Dontavian Wicks, who got a lot of hype coming into the season, 0 catches. Luke Musgrave, your number one tight end, 0 catches. I take away from this is that the Packers, playing their opening game on the road in Brazil, did not play all that well and still put up 29 points and could have won this game against an Eagles team that has great weapons and players on both sides of the ball. All of that is now overshadowed by the injury to Jordan Love. Love had to be helped off the field. He got some help walking into the locker room, but he was mostly under his own power. And just reported not too long ago by Matt Schneidman, who is traveling with the team, when Jordan was leaving the locker room tonight, he was moving without too noticeable of a limp. So we will hope that is good news and the injury isn't anything serious or anything that keeps him out or affects his play going forward. I will keep you updated on any further news about Jordan or anyone else. Just follow me on X. I'll be back next week as we look forward to playing the Colts at home. Until then, enjoy your weekend, everybody, and go Pack Go.